What's cracking, people? It's your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, representing the high-level technicians operating globally and beyond. So listen, today I wanted to go over a feature of lifestyle that I come from in my world that a lot of people are not familiar with in the vanilla world. And what I think translates between these two worlds are the differences between the body types and the presentation of these body types. So today I wanted to present 5 different types of male exotic dancers that are at clubs and that do parties. Now, just for reference and to clarify, I've done maybe 2 shows with white and Hispanic dancers, and there are key differences between the way that they present shows and the way that black male exotic dancers present shows. So for reference, I'm just going to be referencing primarily black male exotic dancers, even though I'm sure that these traits are present in other spaces. The biggest difference tends to be that with white and Hispanic exotic dancers, they put on more of a stage show, and it's more of a group act that starts and leads in, and then it breaks off into the individual acts. Whereas with the majority of black male exotic dancers, the shows tend to be features, and they feature specific male exotic dancers and their personalities and the energy that they bring to the stage. So just for that reference, I'll be referencing primarily black male exotic dancers in this upload. So to begin, let's start with number 1, and that of course is the ASP. All my listeners know what the ASP is. That is the alpha showpiece. And this particular dancer is what I consider the top of the food chain. He's marketed himself well. His presentation is on point. The clothes are on point. When I say the clothes, I mean when he walks into the establishment, if he's not taking the back door to cloak, his mystery, when he walks in, his clothes are on point because he's going to walk through. Some venues allow you to do a walkthrough, like a meet and greet with the female patrons before you go on stage, just to further promote yourself before making your debut for your show. And those clothes are on point. Everything about it, they fit well, they're tailored most likely, and they fit his frame, and they show off sort of the product before the full product presentation. His costume is on point. He's selected a style that suits and expresses his personality, and his character comes through his act. His scent game is on point. When I would walk through the crowd, I would make sure that the first thing that hit women is, in my case, is Simiaki Blue, because that bonds really well to my personal body scent and my chemistry. So as soon as, women would call that out, Issy Blue, they knew, Scorpio was coming through. And for all the people that don't know, Scorpio was my stage name. Anyway, besides his clothing game, his costume game, his scent game, the verbal game is on point for the alpha showpiece. Now, the successful alpha showpiece, there is a difference between just you're run-of-the-mill, I can just show up anywhere and be fly alpha showpiece. Now, the successful or the high-level operatives, or what I would like to call technicians, have all of these games, especially the verbal game, on point. His ability to communicate to women in a way that opens them up to receive his brand and his style, and locks them into his mind, or locks him into their mind, guarantees that he'll be cashing out at the end of the night. His nonverbal and physical seduction game is on point. Detail. Attention to detail is extremely important, and it makes the difference between, cashing out at the end of the night and having to do all kinds of strange things for change. Let me just put it that way. The ASP's routine is on point. It's crisp. He knows how to work the room and doesn't overstay his time while he's on the floor. He's in and out and in the shadows to keep up that mystery. all future technicians, I'm going to tell you right now, take notes. These are all major components of an effective technician. So number 2 is the ugly sexy player. I'll also link the video that I did to the USP down below for this one. But basically, the USP is very similar to an ASP. He just focuses more on his physical seduction and tends to linger a bit more, and he caters somewhat a bit more than an ASP does. That's because he's honest with himself. You know, he doesn't think that he's the prize. He doesn't think that he's a piece. I mean, he is a prize in his own way, but he doesn't get himself confused with the alpha showpiece. He knows what his attributes are. His body game is on point. He actually tends to work harder on his physical appearance and his physical seduction than the ASP, because, you know, the ASP has a lot of natural attributes and characteristics about his physicality, but the ugly sexy player definitely comes in a very close second. And like I said in the previous video, the ASPs always are, you know, watching their backs and keeping their heads on a swivel, because, you know, that USP will come up and be nipping at your ankles and taking that piggy right from underneath you if you don't pay close attention. So one more aspect about the USP is something that some people may or may not be familiar with, but a lot of women are familiar with. That one cat that brings out the roses and gives like certain things or gifts to the women, like part of his catering position when he's making his debut on the stage or in the floor. And this is to offset his hard ass face. Let's just be real at the end of the day. Number 3, this is the gorilla, basically, if you want to put it that way. I call this one the Debo Dick You Down. And basically this would be, I guess, if you were to just, you know, try to categorize this guy, hulking in appearance. Basically, he's the personification of the demon dick guy. He's throwing women around, picking them up. He's moving anything in his path, even without warming them up. His seduction game is damn near non-existent, but that's his draw. His draw is that beast mode, that hulking figure that I can put up, you know, 450 pounds, 500 pounds on a bad day type of dude, squatting 1,000 pounds. His seduction, part of his seduction is his appeal to the animalistic nature. That's really what it comes down to when we talk about the Debo Dick You Down. He might rip her dress, he might do something really, really ratchet and over the top, but for whatever it's worth, it leaves the women wanting more. There's a certain element of the energy that the Debo Dick You Down character brings out in a woman. He'll leave baby oil stains on her shirt and he doesn't care. That's like leaving his calling card or his mark. Number 4 is the Pillsbury player. Now, as you can imagine, this is a guy who was once in shape, and now, for whatever reason, due to laziness, depression, an addiction, or, you know, a failed relationship, he's let his body go. And now he just banks on some women's curiosity of interacting with a big black soul pole, basically. It's pretty hilarious to witness. You know, he still knows his targets, but he also knows his limitations. So he focuses on his attributes, and I think that this is a key characteristic to mention, because when I talk about building up a technician and, you know, just mastery of your masculinity, you got to know what your boundaries are, what your limitations are, where you are in a given moment. You have to maximize that to extract value from the situation. Number 5 is what I refer to as the mystery meat man. And I say this because depending on the venue and depending on the promoters, there could be a guest dancer / entertainer or party host. Now, this tends to run the gamut, and it's most likely a name from out of town, you know, an exotic dancer or a popular figure from some other locality out of the Midwest, probably out east, usually from Hollywood. This is, like I said, a well-known but not an A-list actor, so to speak. This could be a stage play actor. This could be a movie stunt man. This could be a TV show extra. Like, I remember a few times we had, some extras from Empire, some extras from Power, the TV show Power, and also from Being Mary Jane. Those are just examples of the mystery meat men that come through and do different sets just to keep the crowd warm and keep it going. So there are also all sorts of places that promoters and managers grab the mystery meat men from, and it all depends on how good the management is. And it's challenging because most managers in this business are pretty much trashed and they're sleazy. They're trying to make these ridiculous deals, but that's another story for another day. Mostly the managers and agents are women, and this is because they have the access, obviously, to other women, and they're the ones that book the bachelorette parties and things like that. So they're basically the plug, and they know it. So that'll about round out the 5 categories for today regarding the 5 different guys that you'll meet at an exotic entertainment show. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Obviously, there's a reason why I mentioned these. These sort of types play out more often than you know, and the vanilla side of things, and not just in my world. And as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying stay sharp and mission focused. Later.